answer. Am I the only one? I didn't know it was over. Take care of you. Take care of you. Take care of you. You on and on. You never gave me an answer. Am I the only one? I didn't know it was over. Take care of you.
Hello, everybody. I hope you all are having a wonderful, wonderful start to your new year. And today I have a very exciting topic to talk to you all about, which is about how do we plan for our new year and doing it in a way that keeps it consistent, that keeps us from burning out, and also make sure that we are having the best time of our lives going on this journey of personal growth and development, and hopefully together with the CoX3 family. So let's jump right into it. So when I usually talk about any important topics like this, I like to break down the why, what, and how. It's just a way for me to break down all the things I do want to talk about in a way that's easily digestible by you. And really the first thing I want to talk about is really probably one of the reasons why you clicked on this video in the first place, which is why we have a big X on New Year's resolutions. Well, for me, I want to just share, a few experiences that I've had with you that has really helped me shape my idea on what's the most consistent way to plan out something that I want in my life, plan out the success I want, and actually achieve it. I found that when I have New Year's resolutions, and I observe this in a lot of my friends and family as well, when we have New Year's resolutions that we want to do something big every single year. Oh, we're going to drastically change X about ourselves. We're going to drastically become more healthy, more energetic. We're going to drastically change up our entire lifestyle. We're going to study brand new things we've never studied before. So whenever we have all these certain opportunities, let's say, to reinvent ourselves, it usually comes with a lot of baggage. It's very, very strong. It's almost saying like, well, all of a sudden on this arbitrary new date, right? Which is the brand new year, of course. Everything about our lives is going to change. Well, if you know anything about growth and development, nothing happens in an instant, right? We didn't become adults, right? Or maybe some of you guys are teenagers watching this. We didn't grow up, just specifically. Oh, sorry, I have a lot of notifications coming up. I Let me just make sure I share my window instead. Give me a quick second. Should be like this, and then I have here. That should be a bit better. Sorry about that. Let me also try to open this up as well. Something like that. All right, sorry about that. But basically, what I'm trying to share here is that nothing in our lives is immediate, right? Nothing happens overnight. It's always, bits and pieces of progress over time. And what we don't end up realizing, especially when we go and try to observe other people's successes, is that we think they happened very rapidly. But that's because we're not in the trenches with them. We don't really actually see exactly how they went about their whole process of getting to where they are today. So what I want to show you today, what I want to explore together with you, is how we can actually create the stages of progress for ourselves so that it's easily digestible, and we also don't feel like a sense of overwhelm when we're thinking about all these things that we need to do, and then in the end not be able to achieve anything at all. And of course, I'm saying this with the utmost care and attention that I want you to all succeed in your New Year's resolutions. I don't think that's something I don't want, but I want to help you do it in a way that's sustainable for you so that you can be sure that when you grow, you're growing effectively, efficiently, and in a way that works towards what you actually want. Because oftentimes when you have a big, big goal like that, you also end up missing your mark. So the next thing I want to share is that you should really have a plan to improve your life. And the way that I look about this is I have this really interesting diagram here, which I've created around a few years back. But what we have on the left side is the indefinite parts of life that we're always going to be improving. We like to call this the areas of competence inside our community. And essentially, it consists of the areas of life that we wish to consistently improve in. These things can be health, right? These things can be mindset, knowledge, family. They're not really going to have any kind of end to it. We're always going to want to improve these things, but it's always going to be important to know that I'm consistently leveling up in each of these areas. If you ever use our app, our Make Work Fun app, you know that every time you hand in a win, whether inside Notion or just a win that you're handing in, we like to tag them with the area of life that is improving so that you can see exactly how you've been leveling up, not only overall in your life, but specifically in different areas. Are you leveling up more mindset versus health? How should you compensate for that? How should you work towards more equality when you're leveling up? And each single quarter, every single period of time that you define for yourself, when are you going to work on which area of life? We'll talk about that today as well. I also want to share that within areas, there's also values. So values are really the way that in which you're going to behave as you're achieving your goals, right? If you have a value of honesty, of transparentness, of community, the way that you approach each goal and the way you tackle the way you're gonna, actually go about chasing those actions and those projects and those ways to live your life are going to be very, very different depending on what values you currently hold and want to improve. On the right side is where I want to focus on today, which is the definite parts of your life, your success plan. Opportunities for you to set a certain milestone and a deadline to achieve that milestone, right? So for my goals, I have a certain goal that I want that explains why I'm doing something. Maybe I want to get fit in the new year, right? The key result will indicate, what does getting fit mean to me? Like, what does that even mean, right? How do I break that down into something more actionable, something measurable, something smart, right? That, I can essentially know that this is specifically what I want in my life. And if I achieve these certain things, I will be successful. The projects, how am I going to get there, right? And the projects, consist of, chunks of tasks and, contents that you're going to be digesting and reading and writing, just a ton of stuff that's going to be helping you create your entire success plan. And I like to think of it as you're playing different roles in your life. You start off by playing the founder role, which, indicates, the big vision, and some of the indicators of success that you have for your life. Then you go into the management role. You're managing all these different success metrics that you have, and how you're going to go about them. And then you're the project manager, which will, you have all these different projects you want to do and you should do, but which of them are the most important things for you to work on, and how do you prioritize, and how do you make sure that you get things done? So with that all in mind, let's move on to the next topic, next point, which is that you should really learn how to do this with or without digital tools. Digital tools obviously are very, very helpful in us for our lives to, make them more efficient and effective. But I also want to teach today in a way which, even if you're following along with pen and paper, you can really still get a lot of value out of what we're sharing today, and ensure that what you have to take away is something that you can apply in Notion, you can apply in paper, you can apply in any technology you like. But I just want to give you the fundamentals of how and what we're going to do to help you improve your life in this way. So let's jump straight into it. And while I'm going to be talking about this, I'm also going to be flipping to and from the system we have built in Notion. Again, completely optional for you to follow along inside your Notion system as well, but I do recommend it. But I want to show you and compare and contrast, where perhaps now technology tools are going to help you, with this process a lot more than just paper-based tools. And give me a quick second here too. I just want to fix my my screen. For some reason, it's being not cooperative. So thank you for your patience here. I think I just need to shrink it down a little bit, but it's not letting me do that. There you go, something like that. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is to determine your periodic cycles. Like, how often are you going to review certain parts of your life? And my best recommendation is on a quarterly basis, you would want to review, your values and your areas. So you're kind of defining like, who am I and what areas of my life am I improving? On a monthly level, I will recommend going about and planning out your big whys, like why am I doing certain things, what are my goals, and then what are my key results, right? What are things I want to accomplish in the coming months? So that's something I would do on a monthly basis. And again, imagining myself as a founder, right? Founder of my own myself. On a weekly basis, I'd like to think of myself as a manager, and what I'd be reviewing are the different projects and habits that I can be creating in order to make my life better, right? And that's on a weekly basis. And then finally, on a daily basis is where I review the projects that I've set out for myself and review the tasks that I should be doing to really make life better and improve myself bit by bit and work towards the outcomes and the milestones that I've set for myself. But of course, all this is very flexible. It depends on how much time you have, given any particular day. It also matters on how often you want to reflect, how often you feel like you're veering off course. But again, a big reason why I am a huge supporter of doing more consistent review cycles versus having like a big New Year planning is because it gives you more opportunities to see where you've been kind of falling behind and also where you've been successful without having to wait for the entire year to pass and be like, oh, wow, I didn't actually achieve everything I wanted to achieve. So what we want to do, on a quarterly basis, again, if you're using Notion, you can follow along. But what I like to do is I like to first set out, what this quarter is all about. I like to think of a theme. And if you can't think of a theme when you're first starting the quarter, you can also think of a theme after the quarter has ended and work out retroactively. But it's usually very important for me to say like, hey, if quarter one is between, the 1st of Jan all the way to the end of March, then in this 3-month period, what is it really going to be all about? What is going to be my focus, right? And here's where I open up, as an example, I'm going to open up this as a bigger page as well so you can see. But over here, we have a list of areas of our lives that, we've kind of already defined for ourselves. And again, in this step, you should probably take a pause here if you're watching this recording and say, hey, where are the areas that I want to improve? What are the areas for me? And again, for me, we have things like mindset, finances, building a sustainable business, health, sharing, lifestyle, travel, and so on. And you'd really want to pick the top 3 areas that are really going to make an impacts perhaps for your life to for your quarter to come. And for me, this quarter I'm thinking about, I want to improve in family, right? I want to have more familial bonds, whether that's with my family here in the community, or inside my blood related family, or for my friends as well. I want to also improve on my health, right? Health is something that I think is always very important. So health is something I want to improve in, and maybe my mindset is something I want to work on as well. Again, these are all examples that you can follow along as well. I'll really give you an opportunity to really think about, hey, what's really important for me in general, right? What's all the areas of my life that I could possibly improve, but for this quarter specifically, where are 3 places I'm going to focus on? Because we can't do everything at once. We all have all our different plates that we can juggle, and this is the first step in which we can really narrow down how many plates we can handle at a time. And of course, if you have a Notion or any digital tool, where's the benefit is that you can see, very easily all the different things that you're working on and not have to rewrite them over and over again. Values wise, I also really recommend coming up with values that, really resonate with you in the way that you wish to live your life from here on out. And the good thing about values is something that I realize not many people share in this thought, and or maybe haven't unlocked this thought yet for themselves, but values are actually very malleable. You can improve your values anytime you want. And the biggest idea I have is, what is growth, for example, as a value to you, may evolve over time. When I was thinking about growth around 2-3 years ago, I was just thinking about it as being open-minded to new experiences, being open to learning, and open to just asking as many questions as I can in any given situation to learn as much as I can. That was growth to me. And again, don't get me wrong, that is still growth to me today, but I've defined something very unique, I think, for myself for the coming year. Growth now for me in the coming year is not only being open to new experiences, but being actively seeking challenges, right? Because I felt like, that's the next place to grow for me, right? Actively seeking challenges and embracing the difficulties and obstacles that come with that, but being very, very happy with the opportunity to grow and learn, even if it's tough and difficult. Now, that is my new definition of the value of growth for me, but I would not have figured that out unless I was living up to the value of growth in the previous few years, in which the definition I had back then, right? So it's always a progressive improvement here, and I really want to support you in the way that you can go ahead and note down your values and work on them, given how you want to achieve what you want to achieve. So again, for here, determine 3 values that you have for the quarter, and maybe growth, happiness, and as to understanding, right, is something maybe I want to focus on for this quarter. So that's on a quarter basis. As you can see, very, very easy, very, very quick. And what I usually like to do before I go on is I like to make some notes, why did I choose certain things? So for example, what I just described to you, my value of growth was more centered around openness for experiences in the past year. This year, I'd like the focus to be on taking on new challenges and embracing the obstacles as a learning opportunity. And you can also explain, why you're working on the area of family, and just giving you a lot of opportunities here to make as many notes as possible to explain why you're making these decisions, why you're going about and choosing these certain areas of life to improve it. So once you're done your quarterly review, again, this is a very quick process. You just start off. I recommend you jump into your monthly review as well. And of course, if you do have a theme, maybe I'll add one here as well. Maybe the theme here is going to be 10x growth, right? Something I like to talk about. And maybe for growth, maybe a rocket is something that helps me understand that this is a 10x growth. So maybe just something like this, right? So you can see that it's there, and it lets you think about like, this quarter is 10x growth. It helps me keep in mind that this is what I am aiming for. For the monthly review, again, I'm going to open a new month here, and I'm going to say this is January 2022. And for the dates, I'm going to set the whole of January. Again, wherever you want to start and end, it's completely up to you. But I like to somehow do it on the weekends as well. So it's easier for me to find time to plan out these monthly and quarterly results. But for quarterly, I'm going to go ahead and pick Q1 2022. So I'm linking them together. And what's my opportunity now is I can reference, and again, I'm going to open that in a new tab, but I can reference what my areas and values this quarter is. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up and say that this is for Q1. And I can see that these are my areas that I just picked in the quarterly review and my values. And based on that, well, what goals should I work on, right? What should I work on in my success plan? Again, the definite parts of our life where we have exact milestones to hit. What are we going to do, right, to make this a reality for ourselves? What is specifically going to be the thing that makes all the difference for us? So, I like to then organize my goals, and I'm probably going to delete this one just so that it gets out of my way later. But what we have is we have mindset, so this matches. We have health next, and then we have family here. I'm just gonna move this one knowledge so it doesn't confuse you guys as I build up. That was just another example I was creating for one of our classes in the community. But here what we have is, well, okay, mindset, health, and family is important to us. Well, what specifically about mindset? What's specifically about health? What specifically about family, right? So let's go ahead and do some quick examples. Again, I like doing that so you can also get an idea of what it means to you. So for mindset, and I'll link that kind of to growth for me because I think I want to change my mindset on what growth means to me. Well, so embrace new challenges and enjoy the journey. Okay, so that's gonna be one goal for me. I'm going to also add some details here. Again, you can do this with pen and paper as well. Just write down the goal and indicate, for example, how impactful it's going to be for this area of mindset. When would you like to work on this by, right? When is going to be the due date of this? So maybe I'm going to say that I want to work on this starting today, but all the way to maybe the end of the quarter, so March 31st, right? And then we can see like, key results that we can add in. And if we don't add any key results, we can see that it's a dream, right? Because if we don't have any ways to continue the success flow on terms of, what do I want to accomplish and how I'm going to get there, it's always going to be a dream for us. But for now, let's go and plan out a few more goals, just to give you more examples. For me, health, I want to feel energetic and strong in 2022. That's something that you can put in, right? That's a goal for yourself. And again, quite important. Maybe it's a 10 times improvement to your life. And again, we can start and end this on a certain date, right? So maybe we can even extend this past the quarter. We can say at the end of June. So it's going to be a 2-quarter process for yourself. And then finally, family, right? Family, we can put something like, bond better with friends and network, right? So maybe this is your definition of family is more than just your immediate family, but it's also your friends as well. So here I will also put down, a goal for this and say, hey, this is an impact of maybe 5. And then I want to go ahead and now start determining like, hey, what exactly does each goal mean? Because for me, when I'm planning goals, I like to make them very visionary, very strong statements that are a bit vague in nature, but are just motivational enough for me to really understand and appreciate what is going to come out of working on all of these different successes, right? So it's ultimately very important to me to be able to go ahead and say, well, how do I measure that I'm embracing new challenges? How am I certain that that's something I'm doing? And in this step, I'm just going to give you a few examples. Again, I have an entire video series on how to plan out your key results and how to plan out your goals very effectively. But just as a beginning stage for you, right? Well, for example, if I want to embrace new challenges, I probably also want to then measure how many challenges that I'm facing. How many times am I being experimentative and how many times am I coming out of my comfort zone, right? So I can say like, 3x going coming out of or embracing a new challenge. So making sure that I have embraced a new challenge maybe 3 times within this process. So that will help me understand that I'm making progress towards this, right? What else can I do? Well, I can also add um, maybe I want to, create a tracker to see how many times I lamented, right, a new experience, meaning that I didn't enjoy a new experience. So again, these are certain things that are going to help you determine certain milestones that you can see that it's going to help you understand that I am, yes, moving towards this goal. Feeling energetic and strong, I think this one can be quite obvious, right? Where it's like, maybe you have, energy level increasing from x to y. Again, your basic level, and then how is it increasing, and of course how do you measure that too, right? So having to take less naps, I mean, even taking more naps to feel more energetic, right? Where specifically do you want to be more energetic, and where do you want to be stronger, right? Let's say I want to be able to bench press a certain amount or do more push-ups, right? So do 25 push-ups in a row. And then you can also have more key results, like having a total level of certain things for you. So now complete a circuit training without feeling completely spent, right? So these are all certain things that you can strive to achieve, right? Certain key results that you can strive to achieve that are again going to help you understand exactly how to get closer and closer towards your goal. And I think I'm just going to add one more for key results for Bond Better Family, Friends, and Network. So I think one very obvious is maybe reach out to best friends, you know, uh, 1 time a week for a month, right? So you can see that you can consistently follow up with that key results and see that that's something you're always going to be working towards. So for here, I'm not going to add any dates just for now, but I am going to move the goals that I want to be worked on this month to in progress. And again, what I want to say is that you shouldn't move everything, right? Now that this is ready to start, maybe you can put it here, but I want to determine which ones I want to focus on first, which is going to be these two in, for this month. And then maybe the next month, then I'll focus some more on some family goals as well, because you want to make sure you're balancing everything out right. So from here on out, we'll skip the sub areas because I think that's a more complicated topic, but maybe just to talk about it just a little bit. Basically, sub areas is all the different things that you are currently like ongoing in terms of like building up some specific tracker, specific master, like some standard operating procedure, some SOP for your life to go and improve in a good way. So it gives you an opportunity to consistently build up these information and make sure that, for example, am I working on my fears? Am I building up my network? Am I, meal planning correctly and adequately? Investment trackers, knowledge hub, everything that you might want to consistently improve in your life, and making sure that that's something that you are consistently working on as well. So for the last step, for this, before you can move on, is again making a theme for this, right? So obviously the theme for me here is, I want to do change. This is, some level of change in terms of my mindset, in terms of the way I perceive growth nowadays, right? So let's see if there's a picture for change, and of course you can upload your own picture as well. Whatever gives you the most motivation and the most opportunity to visualize where you want to go from here on out. So here I have maybe change, indicated in terms of autumn leaves, right? And then finally, for the weekly review, I'm going to go ahead and say this is Jan. Again, I'm going to start from today. So Jan 8th to a certain date. So Jan 8th, let's say the next week, Jan 15th, right? And then this is where I'm going to start, seeing that I can then on a weekly basis, how am I going to work on everything that I want to work on? So I'm going to go ahead and open this and say this is connected to January, right? Of course. Switch to this as a bigger view. And then again, I can reference the goals I have this month, and I can say, hey, for this specific week, right, out of all the goals this month to work on, which one am I focusing on? Well, let's say I'll focus on both because I have the bandwidth for it, right? I might have some goals that are still from the previous weeks that I haven't finished yet. So then I fine tune that. What are the key results then, right? Based on all the goals that I have in mind, what are all the key results I want to work on. And again, I can decide that, hey, I want to increase my energy levels. I want to focus on getting 25 push-ups in a row. And maybe I want to see I can create my new tracker as well. So now here you can see that I have, you know, I'm lacking the downstream projects, right? So I want to go ahead and set projects down here. So let's go ahead and put a project. How do I increase my energy levels? Maybe I have a nutrients goal, right? So improve my nutrition. I might also have another project in case, you know, this doesn't work out. So maybe it's going to be, you know, exercise at my gym, right? And of course, you can have a home gym as well because COVID, unfortunately, right? But these are certain projects for yourself. And the beautiful thing here is that, you know, we can connect multiple key results to a singular project as well, because it gives you the opportunity to achieve two things for one, right? And you can have two outcomes that you can succeed in for the sake of just one project. So I like that a lot. So we can see that the 25 push-ups in a row, probably I can connect that to also the exercise. So exercise at my gym. So you can see that that shows up here as well. That's also another project to work on. And then creating a tracker to see how you can limit experiences or not. Maybe you can just embrace new experiences as a project, and we can see how that one plays out for us as well. So new as a project, and now we have 3 key results that we can probably work on for this week, and you know, really achieve certain outcomes for ourselves. Again, I say up to 6, right? If you're really adventurous, but I would recommend between 3 to 6 if you are just starting out and you want to make sure that you actually achieve the things you want to achieve. And of course, you want to make sure these are really realistic, right? So the acronym for key results I like to follow is SMART: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. So what happens is, if I am certain that I can accomplish 25 push-ups in a row, I will keep this here. If I'm not certain for that, I want to then scale that down and split this in two. First, I'll have a key result for doing 10 push-ups in a row, and then I'll move on and add another key result for doing 20 and then 25 and so on and so forth. So you also want to make sure that this is realistic for you and not something that you won't be able to complete within the week. Okay. And the same thing with energy levels, right? How do you even figure out energy levels to begin with? Maybe that's a key result of its own, right? What was my key result today? Just finding out my baseline. I actually like that a lot, right? So maybe that's something that I want to do instead. So maybe let's go ahead and put this back down into here, and I'm just going to jump into the feel energetic and strong, and I'm going to say find a baseline for energy levels, right? So determine my baseline energy levels, because I think that's like a very important step, right? If I want to see, like, am I really improving myself in the sense that am I really, you know, building up my energy? I need to know where I'm starting from. So here I'm going to go ahead and add that downstream thing, which is going to be energy or nutrients, right? Improve my nutrition, of course, and something like that. Maybe that can be related to my energy levels. All right, cool. So we have some key results, right? And we can also set relevant due dates if you had in mind. So maybe by midweek, I'd like to have my baseline all determined so you can see 4 days to go. Maybe for 25 push-ups, I'm going to keep working on that until the Friday, right? So I have 6 days to go for that. And then for creating a tracker, hell, I can do that probably today, right? Or tomorrow. So that's within a day. So you can see that these are all very, very clear to me, and it gives me an opportunity to see exactly, hey, these are the outcomes I can have for myself really, really soon. Then I have my active projects, right? And active projects are based on the key results that are in focus. So for example, embrace new experiences is only because of my tracker for this. So if I take off this focus, I believe this will disappear. So it does, right? So then it gives you a also good idea of why a Notion or a digital tool is helpful for you in that way. But here we can have, you know, projects that we want to focus on. And again, based on the key results, perhaps we want all 3 projects to be focused on as well. And then now we can start determining like what dates we want for ourselves. So when do we want to start improving our nutrition? When are we going to stop this project? And we make a decision that says, hey, this is or is not the project that's going to make this key results successful, we should move on so we can try new things and keep experimenting. One thing I do want to really hammer in for you guys is don't give up, right? There is a difference between giving up on this specific way of doing things and finding something, a new way to do things, versus just saying, hey, this key result, this outcome is impossible for me to achieve. I really want to stress that everything is possible for you to achieve as long as you continuously iterate on the way you're going about achieving it. I don't think there's ever going to be a situation where, it's something completely impossible. Of course, there are things that are truly, truly very technical, right? But I think that as long as you have a passion for it, meaning that you have the motivation, the really big, strong why in which you want to do this, and that's really guiding your vision, then it's not improbable for you to continuously iterate on new ways of trying out your how in order to achieve what you want in your life and the success that you're looking for. And the best thing is, we're not in this alone. There's so many times that you can learn from other people that have already done, something similar to you, and ideally as close to your current time period as possible, right? So someone that has done it very recently, so you can learn from them, right? And learn from their experiences, and hopefully not have to repeat so many of their experimentations, and learn from that experience so that you can really just jump to the next stage of growth as fast as possible and as coherently as possible, or maybe as whole as possible. So that's where I'm coming with this in terms of how I like to plan. And now that you have all your different, projects set out for you, and again, maybe I want to have this to be like a 1 month project. Maybe new experiences is going to be more of a long-term project. So maybe this is like until the end of the month, and then exercise is probably going to be something more, more long-term as well, so I can see the results, right? But then again, you can see dream detected. So this is where you go ahead and you plan out some of the tasks that you want to do in terms of the impact that you want to make to this goal. Plan them out, and then when you're actually working on your stuff, working on your tasks, you can be very, very certain that everything is well thought out and well planned, because you have a very consistent periodic moments in which you're going to go ahead and relook at everything that you've done to ensure that everything is living towards your vision. And the best thing is, as you keep going in this process, and again, you can see everything I've discussed, you can definitely do on paper as well, right? Just a bit more taxing. And by the way, a paper planner is coming out for you guys who like that haptic feedback. But I really want to illustrate this as an opportunity for you to really disregard, the current way that you perhaps do your goal planning for New Year's, and instead see it as a consistent process that you can consistently work on, because you don't need to wait for a special day to improve your life. You can improve your life today, right? You can do it in a very consistent form every single month, every single quarter, hell, even every single week. But I think that is going to be very, very stressful on you, so maybe not so often. But just give yourself the time to work on it, and don't be held back by the idea that you need to only do it on a very big day and have a lot of change and accumulate everything in one go, because I think that is tremendously stressful. It's not going to do any wonders or any good for you to have that kind of process. At the end of the day, there's a high likelihood that that's all going to fail. So my recommendation, try this out, trial planning. Let me know how you plan in the community. We have tons of channels for you to talk to others and learn from how other people are doing goal planning as well. We can have great discussions about this and hopefully learn something new. That's it from me, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Hopefully this was helpful, and look forward to seeing you next week on this Friday live stream segment. Take care now. Bye bye.